Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Lapeef Network. I am Ameera, if you haven't seen me before, and I am reclaiming my time. I have a quick topic that I want to speak to you all about, and this is just a really quick stream that I want to have with you all. And I can't see the chat right now, so I do apologize if I can't shout anyone out here. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, but if I do that, then you probably won't be able to see me. Okay, let's begin. Today's topic that I wanted to speak to you all about is regarding honor, honor and discipline. This is something that has been on my mind since, we have many talks on the Lapeef Network, but this, for some reason, stays in my head. Like, we were talking last week, or I'm sorry, last Thursday, about things that keeps families together and what has caused a lot of our families to separate in the West. And one of those things that I brought up, well, I brought up four things. I brought up financial issues, money. I brought up infidelity. I brought up honor, honor and fear of disappointing your parents, disappointing your family. And I believe the last one was lack of religion. You don't have to be religious to be a good person. You don't need religion to have morals. So, for that reason, I bring it to honor. What about honor? What about your name? What does your name mean to you? Is your name and your family name important enough for you to watch what you do, watch what you say, and be aware of how you look outside and in public, and the type of relationships you have with other people, whether it be business relationships or other? This is what I wanted to talk to you all about, and I have no script. This this is going straight from the top of my head. This is just something, the only thing that I had in my mind was honor. And I wanted to speak to you all a little bit about my life, about hi Jamal. He says keep speaking the truth, stay in honor at all costs. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support. Right. Honor. What would that mean to us as normal people and living in 2021? What does that mean? Most of us don't really have this kind of honor system installed here. We don't have that feeling, but one thing I want to share with you all, with my life, in my culture and in my family, we have what Courtney calls a code. She calls it code, we call it honor. This has nothing to do with your race, but it has to do with your family. Disappointing your family and upholding your family name is very important. Not disappointing your family. Not disappointing your family and upholding your family name is a huge deal for us. Honoring your parents, honoring the elders of your family. This is a big deal for us, and this also translates into, as we grow up, honoring our husbands as women, honoring our husbands. So, part of that, I believe, I would want to say is a good part of honoring is respect, having respect for yourself, first and foremost, having respect for your family and those around you, and the children that are around you, because the children will be watching you. No matter how unaware you are of that, children are watching. Even if they're not your children, the children in your community are watching. In our culture, we have an honor system. And I want to speak to that because Courtney was curious about the so-called code that we have, which is actually honor. When we leave our homes, I'll give you a quick example. I live in an all Turkish community. Everyone around me is Turkish. Many of them are related to my family. So, because of that, you would think I would be comfortable here. You would say, oh, you're comfortable. You live amongst your same culture, your same people. No, no, no. It's very strict and very difficult to live around the same people as me. When you live around your own community, sometimes it can be a little bit harder than living amongst people who are foreign to you. Why? because you are held to a certain standard. You are held to the standard of your community. This is very important. When I leave my home, I'm not seen as Ameera. I am seen as my last name. I am seen as, this is the daughter of so and so, the wife of so and so, the sister of so and so. This is who I am. My personal identity, it really means nothing. It means I am a part of something. So honoring the thing that I'm a part of is a big deal. When I leave my home, I can't dress a certain way. I can't go outside with a mini skirt and with my stomach showing or my breasts out. I can't do it because that is there a word, of dishonor? Yes, that is dishonoring my family. I would dishonor my family. And this goes beyond your family as you move beyond your community. Your whole community looks bad at that point. Can you say, well, it's my life, I should have the right to do what I want? You can, but if your community is important to you, if your family is important to you, you will honor them. So, honor. Honoring, it comes with being respectful. It comes with awareness of what you're doing, how you look, and how you are perceived by others. So that is a huge deal for us. And what Courtney was talking about, I agree to the extent of family. We have family honor. So aside from that, the other thing I wanted to speak about was discipline. Discipline is one of the hardest things for humans because in human nature, of course, we naturally just want to have pleasure. That's why, like, when you see people who cannot control their food intake, people who have eating problems, what do they say? The urge is just too much because your body wants to have that pleasure of eating sugar or salt. Salt, I believe it's sugars, fats, and salt are the things that your body craves. Like, those are the things that it craves because those are the things that were not in abundance in the beginning of time. Now they are. So now you have to have even more discipline to resist them. The same thing goes for everything else. Many of the things that we have now weren't available in the past. They're in abundance right now. So it takes even more discipline than our ancestors. Our ancestors, let's speak on that. Our ancestors, believe it or not, even though they wanted those things, a lot of those things were not within their reach. You know what I mean? A lot of our ancestors, look, if they had the chances to do what we have today, they may not have been so good. We look at them and we're very fond of how strict they were and how controlled they were, but they also didn't have what we have today. They didn't have all these options. We live in a world where we have too much options, too much abundance, and this takes even more discipline. It's even harder for us in today's world. And that's one thing I think we should always remember, that today we have to have more self-discipline than our ancestors did because of the availability of everything. Discipline, a lot of people find their discipline through religion. They find it through focusing on school, focusing on a career. Discipline, you can find it in so many ways. I found my discipline. What am I talking about? I am disciplined because of my culture, because of my religion. My religion demands, and there's just no excuse for anything, honestly. Discipline in Islam is very much, I want to say, the top priority is to always be disciplined. This is why we have Ramadan, where we have a whole month where we can't eat during the day. We can't eat, we can't drink, we can't chew gum, we can't smoke cigarettes if you're a cigarette smoker. You can't even touch your husband or wife at that time. During Ramadan, if you all know what that is, Ramadan, you can't even touch your husband or wife when the sun is out. Discipline, strict, deprive yourself, starve yourself. You must learn to go without. We must learn to be without and be okay with that. And not only be okay when we have without, but we also have to thrive while we're without. This is important, and this is one of the things that I say in Islam is very, it's it's very important, and it's one of the things that I love most about Islam. It tells you to basically hurt yourself. It tells you starve yourself, deprive yourself of what you like or what you want. Do it, because you'll be stronger and better after. Discipline. So I guess if we could translate this into different words, discipline would be, let's see, I would say, forcing yourself to learn how to live in difficult circumstances that you put on yourself. That these circumstances were not put on you, but you put them on yourself. That's disciplining yourself. Go without, starve. Be dehydrated. Do what you must. Go without sex. Go without music. Even music is another thing about Ramadan. We can't even listen to music. That's discipline. So it's very strict, it's very hard, and this is a lot of reasons why a lot of people can't deal with being a Muslim. Being a Muslim is not easy. Ask the Muslims in the chat. They will tell you it's not easy. It's not easy saying, there's a lot of people who like bacon, they like pork. You see these beautiful sandwiches at McDonald's and Burger King, and they have like this juicy hamburger and this cheese and this crispy bacon sitting on top, and right? Ask a Muslim, are you going to eat that? No. You're not going to touch it, no matter how good it smells, no matter how, no. Discipline. So I want to say that honor and discipline are some of the things that they're the most difficult things to do. It's very difficult to look at yourself objectively. Did I miss something? It's very hard for you to look at yourself from an objective point of view when talking about honor, understanding how people are seeing you. So, sex is highly undisciplined here. Oh my God. So it's hard to look at yourself from an objective point of view and see yourself not as what you intend to be, but how you actually look. Because you might say, oh, well, I wasn't trying to look bad. I thought I looked fine. I didn't see anything wrong with that. That's not the point. The point is how people perceive you, what they saw in you. So that's one of the things that I like when I see in my community, not my community, my neighborhood. I watch the women in my neighborhood as well, because after having all these talks on the Lapeef Network, I start looking at my own life very differently, because I start to ask myself, why are we like this? What made this how it is? And what are the good things about it, and what are the bad? Being accountable from how you look, being accountable of how you look and how you are perceived by others is difficult. Because of course you can say, well, I don't really care because I'm still a good person. I may look a certain way, but I'm still a good person. That doesn't matter. It matters how you're perceived. So that's one of the things that I want to talk about regarding honor. And as for discipline, we all know discipline is difficult. Ask anyone that's tried to be on a diet or that's gone to the military and has had to deal with following orders and having a strict routine. All of this stuff is difficult, and it's not pleasant. Of course it's not pleasant, but all of these things make us better people in the end. And that's one thing that I am focusing on in my own life too, because I have things that I'm not disciplined on as well. There's things that I need to improve on. So yeah, I want to see if I can see any of the comments, because I do want to respond to you. Wait, can you guys see me if I look at the comments? Let me see. So hi Skit, hi Jen, hi Larry, hi Skylar. I think I need to open, oh, you know what? I'm gonna open it here, so then at least I can see the chat, because this is not enough. when you see a lot of other cultures, have you all looked at like the Asian culture? The Asian culture has the same thing like us. They are very much, what is very important to them is their family honor and being, how can I say, being a good person to uphold your, I guess you could say, your family name. I've noticed that here in America, the family name is not really that important. For us, it's almost everything because your family name, when you say your family's name, you can get you can get one or two responses. You can get a positive or a negative. And if you're the one that ruined your family's honor, you're the one who ruined your family's name, you almost have to get exiled. Like you, yeah, I don't know, but American culture is completely. Um, what do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about here in America? How you are free to be an individual, which are these are good things. You're free to be an individual. You're free to be whoever you want, and no matter your family name or your family honor, you can be completely separate of that. Let's say your family has a bad name. Your family has a bad name, but in America, you won't be seen for that because nobody cares about your family name. They just care about you. There is a good thing in that because you can always have a new start. You can always just become more than what your family was. So that is one of the good things about America. But one of the bad things is because you have that freedom to start over and become whatever you want, a lot of times people abuse it. And instead of trying to be something better, people say, well, I can do whatever I want. I have no strings attached to me. If I look bad in the street, it doesn't matter because nobody sees me, nobody sees my family, nobody sees anything. But now we're seeing today, it does matter. Kevin Samuels spoke on something. Kevin Samuels was speaking to a lady, and I believe she said something like, the caller before me, this is her words. She said, the caller before me doesn't represent me. She doesn't represent me. And he said, yes, she does represent you. Every other woman that is the same race as you represents you. Because he called it, I believe, a racial image. You're a racial image, something like that. What do you think about that? What do you think about in America, because we don't have that family honor system, we have more of a racial image. Like if I were wearing hijab or if I go out as a Muslim woman and I misbehave in the street, they're going to point to me and say, look, that's how these Muslims act. They're going to say that. Look how Muslims act. When I could have nothing to do with other Muslims, I could just be being bad all by myself. But they will say, that's how Muslims act. Same thing with Asians or anyone else who's not white. If you're white, you get more leeway there because if you're white, it's more accepted that okay, there's some white people that are good, some white people that are bad. But as a minority in the United States of America, we have to represent our whole race a lot of times. So regarding that, I don't know what is better, honestly. I really don't know what is better. But I did want to just give you guys an insight into my life and how I see the code that we live by, my honor code that I grew up with. This is what it is. You know what? This is one of the good things about being on the Lapeef Network for me. I'm gonna share it with you guys. This is how can I say it? This is like insider information. Don't share with anyone. Shh. Coming to the Lapeef Network and me being the minority here, me being the minority in this situation, has opened my eyes to a lot of things. It has put a mirror in front of me to show me what I am. I hope you understand what I'm saying. I mean this. Some of the things that I took for granted or I didn't understand or I even some of the things that I rejected before of my culture, now I understand as we start speaking about things and seeing the things that can be positive and the things that can be negative. And I'm finally starting to understand some things are so strict, and why sometimes there's just no way to get an excuse in my culture. There's no excuses. There's no excuses for anything. Honestly, there's no forgiveness. It just seems like there's no redemption, and I'm kind of starting to understand why, as we have these conversations together, me, Courtney, Kay, Rila, Anton, JR, and Lauren. These conversations, you probably have no idea how much it helps me as whoever I am, because it's opening my mind to other things. These kind of conversations I would have never had in another way. Imagine a person like me. You guys saw my channel. You see my channel. I never had a chance to really hear other people's views like I have now. Now I have this opportunity to dissect things that before I just took as fact, things that I just took as this is the way it is. On this channel, I get to dissect these things, and I'm growing, I'm learning, and it's forcing me to look at my own life, and I'm starting to ask myself questions. Why is this? Why do we do that? I didn't even realize we do this, or I didn't. So I hope you all understand what I mean by that. One moment. I need a drink of water. 1 second. Um, JR, JR mentioned us having calls right now. I did say that I thought that it would be better that I would just have a talk and then go, but I would like to take 3 callers if that's all right with everyone. If we can have 3 people call in, then I think that would be good. I would like to open the phone lines.
Okay.
Thank you. So, anyone call in if you guys want to have a talk about this and what you all see in this difficult process of us being disciplined and being aware of how we look and honoring our families, honoring our communities. I want to hear what you all think about it. I'll wait for someone to call in. Drop the link. I think the link is out there. Okay. Siu Chai says, keep the calls brief. Well, we'll see what happens. We always plan that way, but it never really turns out that way. And I don't mind it at all. Honestly, I'm here. I'm here for the conversation. Let me see. Oh, another thing. I also wanted to bring up I was thinking about marriage as well. And I was also thinking about honor in marriage. How can we honor our husbands best? How can we best honor our husbands? This is something that is for the wives. Wives, the way that you can best honor your husband is to represent him well when he's not around. And even if you're unmarried, this is something that you're going to have to do anyway. You should do it even before you're married. Always have your presentation, the way you present yourself, your image, always on point. Never being, I don't want to criticize anyone, but as for boobs hanging out, short skirts, and so on, it's really a no-go for a wife. We have to respect ourselves. And hello, how are you?
Doing good. How are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you. I saw you on the Lead Attorneys show.
Yes, thank you. I saw you on the when he was on the Lapeef Network. I saw you two together there. So I am new to your content. I'm learning, and I'm really enjoying you tonight so far. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What do you think about the topic? What do you think about us taking these difficult steps and pushing ourselves to be more disciplined with everything that we do and honoring our families and our communities?
Absolutely. I'm all for it, especially with the part of the last thing that you said about being a wife. Um, once I became a wife, it was more important to me. I saw it was more important to me the way my mother had presented herself. My mother and father had been married a long time, and she always wore like non-revealing clothing, even at home. Like she didn't let go at home. We saw her in a robe, but we didn't see, certain things. It wasn't until I was an adult and everyone had moved out, and I remember I forgot something and I went back to their house, and I was like so surprised because whatever she had on, it was more. It was like, maybe she didn't have the robe on, because it was just her and my dad at home, and
Right?
I was just like, oh wow, it's. And I believe that I understand what you're saying about the difference in cultures. In America, it's like every man for himself. And I tell my children, like, everybody is their own representative because that is where we are here in the States. Around the world, it's not the same. Like they're saying, family is way more important. Part of our cultural network is Ghana, and their people are more important. It's way more important than, like, your cell phone or whatever. People engage differently, and so I'm all for it. Femininity, there's a certain way you have to represent your husband. That's what I do. Wherever I am, I defer to him. When we're out to dinner, he orders for me. And the waiters are looking at
Oh,
me, and I'm just looking at my husband. I don't even look at them. When they
that is so sweet. That is so beautiful. Mm.
So yeah, it's just like all of those little things, though, like those, and so our children see that. We have girls, so they see that when we're out together, and they know, like, okay, mommy's the boss at home. She's telling us this and that, but when we go out, she just sits there, and daddy starts to order, and I tell him what I want. He orders for me. When we're out and he starts talking, I step back and look at him so that the person talking, they know that this is where your attention should be.
Wow.
And and I'm talkative, so I will cut in, and now, like, I cut in a lot, but I always defer back. Oh, excuse me, but what do you think? I try to make sure that we keep that level of femininity, level of representation. It heightens your honor. It makes you look better. It makes everyone look better.
Yes.
And it does come from the top down. So if you're in the States, it's different, but you can actually achieve that or obtain it in your own homes, in your own communities, so that you are at least not lumped with the other women. Like Kevin Samuels was saying,
True. True. Can I ask you really quickly? How did you become this way? What did you see that was it your mother that taught you this, or was it how?
You know, we grew up, oh my goodness, we grew up deeply rooted in Pentecostal holiness, the religion, and we were heavily indoctrinated. And I say that because I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the religious doctrines that I was raised with. However, those are the things that gave me the foundation for, just because of some of the judgmental things. But if I were to pick apart those things, it's the core, outside of some of the things they put on us. It was the core of, honoring yourself, respecting yourself, realizing there are other people that you have to be respectful of in order to get that back. You have to give in order to get, you
Right.
know. And so that sort of reciprocity, I've kept those sort of core beliefs from my upbringing because since we were so heavily indoctrinated, everyone around us, they were doing this. They were honoring their husbands. This is the way they were living. They were raising their children a certain way so that they gave them freedoms, they poured into them, but family was important, and it was just that growing up in that way. I know we're supposed to keep this short. That's it. That's all I have for that part.
I appreciate you so much. And you brought up something. Thank you so much for joining me. But you brought up something that is really eye opening as well, because one of the four things that I mentioned were the four reasons why I thought families weren't remaining together. One of those reasons was lack of religion. Not that I'm saying that you have to be religious to be a moral person, but just as you said, you're Pentecostal, Pentecostal, correct?
Yeah,
Pentecostal
Christian.
background. That
Yes.
background kind of gave you a foundation to what you are today. I really appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much. That's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate being brought up, being on the platform, and looking forward to learning more about you. Thank you to you and the Lapeef Network.
Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Thank you, you as well. Good night.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Hmm. Back again.
Detox.
What's up? What's up? All
I
right. So I was gonna say, you remember how Kevin Samuels was saying like he was complaining about the chick that was like, I dress up for me because that's how I want to look and yada yada yada. And then Kevin Samuels was like, well, don't you feel responsible for your ethnic image, et cetera, et cetera? I
yeah.
was thinking that it's important to like have some feeling of responsibility, but for him to expect that she would take on the entire like responsibility for the entire ethnic image of an entire ethnicity. I mean, that just seems a little it seems a little too far out there. Like I understand it's important to like carry yourself a certain way and you know take pride in the way you look and the way you behave. But at the same time, you can't expect, you know, it's so many of us that grow up without fathers or mothers in our homes that I mean it's a huge responsibility and it's something that the kids have to value. So without, you know, without fathers and mothers that are actually like teaching their kids how to respect the family name, I mean, that's just a huge responsibility for someone to assume like she would
Well,
just
I would say like what we expect and what is happening it are two different things. We may expect people to not judge us, that way, but what's happening is that like it you
that's
I don't know if you've actually seen this happen. I've seen it myself with my own eyes. If a person who is a minority in this country does something, they will point and say, this is how these people are. This is, you
yeah,
see how these people are doing. They won't say that person
yeah. They'll judge you as your ethnic group as a
as a
whole. I've lived in some racist towns where like you'll see a black person walking down the street and then the you'll hear
detox. Oh, I think we lost them. Oh, that sucks. But yeah, he's right. Like, I understand what he's saying, that we shouldn't expect that. But what's happening is that we can't control it.
yeah, are we live? I think I got cut off a second.
No, you're here. You're here.
So like I used to live in Tallahassee and this it's kind of like a backwoods town. Part of it is urban and then the majority of it is like backwoods and like country roads and shit. And some of the people that I used to work around on a daily, if they saw a black person on the street doing something, you know, they didn't know that I'm mixed. So they would say this shit in front of me like and I'm just sitting there listening to them and say, "Oh, look at the way these you know the way they wear their pants and they always smoking weed and this and that," and they would say this shit around me like it
Oh, your signal is bad. No, but he's right. Like, he's completely right. This is exactly, and this is the same thing that I have seen as well. That's why I'm speaking on it this way, because I don't believe that we should focus so much on racism, but that's what happens. People, this is how the human brain works. We're very simple this way. Like, your brain always wants to find the simplest solution.
yeah
And for the brain, it's like, this person looks like this. This must mean that all of the people who look like this do this. So
yeah and then
it's
they
just how
attribute
the brain
they
works.
they attribute the behavior to the person's skin color or you know ethnicity. But what I was going to say, do you take responsibility for the entire ethnic image of Muslims? Do you
You
feel
know,
responsible for that?
that's the thing. I accept that, even though I don't think that I should. That's just the way it is. This is I mean, just as okay. Example being like, even on the Lapeef Network, even with me speaking to Courtney, she spoke about Lebanon, and oh my God, are you okay? You're still there. She spoke about Lebanon and basically saying, because Lebanese do this, you do this. So this has happened actually on the channel. You know what I mean? This has happened live in front of you guys. So even if I don't want to accept it, I kind of have to understand that this is how it is. And I do understand that I need to represent Muslims, Middle Easterners, Arabs. I have to represent us a certain way because of that. That's a lot of responsibility put on our backs, but that's one of the prices that we have to pay living in a multicultural country.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, good talk.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Hey.
See you. Den Detox is amazing. We have one more call, yeah? If we can do one more, if anyone is there, but if not, then we can, hold on, let me see. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna close this one out then. Okay then. If that's it, I'll wait a few more minutes for one more call if we have one more. If not, then I would just close up and just want to tell you all, I want to hear your opinions. I'm going to be in the chat anyway. I'm going to be looking at the comments because I want to see what you all think about this, about honor and discipline. And do you accept your position as a minority in this country and having to represent your culture, your race, your people? Do you accept it? Just like I have to accept it. Everyone has to accept it. It's just one of the things that we have to do in a multicultural country. It is how it is. So I guess we can call it a night. I think that's all I wanted to say. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that I missed? No. I think that's just about it. Honor and discipline. So this week, I don't know what's going on the Lapeef Network, but JR always has a lot of new things in store, and I can't wait to see what he has planned for this week. I can't wait to see you guys later on in the week. Thank you all for joining me for this short live stream about honor and discipline. I yield my time. Bye.